Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got banished by council and got harem? Part 1. Huge shout out to darkwolfrider for this story. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. It's over, Naruto said. Sasuke was knocked out and laying on the ground. The retrieval mission was a success. All this effort to retrieve a traitor, and yet I keep getting an ominous feeling that something bad was coming, Naruto thought to himself. As a precaution, Naruto applied seals to Sasuke to prevent him from activating his eyes should he wake up, and a knockout seal in case he tried to run away on the way back to the village. The ominous feeling worried him greatly because one thing the villagers taught him to rely on was his instincts, whether that would mean who he could trust or when something bad was coming. The feeling put him on edge because of how strong it was and how it kept growing stronger by the second. It's not just you, kid, I feel the same thing. Something big is going to happen and we're probably going to be stuck right in the middle of it like usual. Before I forget, I want to thank you for lending me your charka to fight against Sasuke and his curse seal power. I don't think I would have won or survived without your help. No problem, kid, if you died who would I take pleasure in tormenting, Kurama replied. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle to himself. He could see the looks on people's faces if he told them about the bond he and Kurama share. One thing he never expected to do was make a friend-brother figure out of the fox, but it was easy to do once they let go of the hatred that surrounded them. He also knew without the fox at his back, he would have died a long time ago at the hands of the villagers and the blind hatred towards him. As the main gates of Konoha came into view, Naruto knew the mission was almost over, which was good news to him since he was running on fumes at this point. At the same time, he reached the gate checkpoint. A squad of Anbu appeared before him, led by a purple-haired woman who always kept an eye out for him in the past when he was younger. "We will take the Uchiha into custody while Crow and Bear escort you to the hospital," Cat said. A few weeks had passed since the retrieval mission was completed and half of the team was resting in the hospital with critical injuries. On a good note, no one was killed on the mission. The mission was a success because of the hard work of the team and the extra help that Tsunade sent to back up the team. The villagers were not happy with Naruto through saying he put the Uchiha's life in danger by roughing him up so much, not caring about the shape he was in or the fact he tried multiple times to try and kill him. The tension got worse when the villagers learned Naruto used Kurama's chakra to fight the brat on even grounds. They began calling out for punishment on Naruto to remind him of his place in the village before he tries to take revenge on them for what they did to him in the past. Naruto decided he had recovered enough to get out of the hospital. He was tired of getting dirty looks from the staff and the whispers, all because he kicked Sasuke's butt. Even his own teammate and sensei yelled at him while he was recovering from surgery, Sakura saying it was his fault that Sasuke tried to leave in the first place, saying he was the cause of all their problems. "How's it my fault? He ran away because of the curse mark, which was never properly sealed," Naruto said to Sakura, quickly losing patience with the pink-haired banshee. "It's always your fault, you are nothing but a failure that his parents abandoned because of how useless you are," Sakura shouted to Naruto. Naruto said nothing but clenched his fist in anger, getting tired of listening to this worthless fangirl lecture him when she is the only worthless person on the team. He is the one who is forced to pick up all the slack and do all the work because the others were too lazy and weak to do it themselves. Kakashi started lecturing him on using a dangerous technique on a teammate, not caring or believing that Sasuke did the same thing to him multiple times. "I am greatly disappointed in you. I thought I taught you to respect your teammates, but I guess you're nothing but a failure. After all, I'm talking to Tsunade to get you removed from my team because you refuse to cooperate and only cause problems for the team dynamics," Kakashi stated. Naruto couldn't believe that they are playing off Sasuke's multiple attempts to kill him as nothing and then saying he was under the influence of the cursed seal, which was the result of his actions. Naruto could only scoff in disbelief. Sasuke knew full well what he was doing. He wanted Naruto dead to gain more power. No matter how he tried to defend himself, they heard nothing of the sort, choosing to believe that he was the cause of their problems. Naruto always got up out of the bed and brought out a storage scroll with backup clothes inside that he kept on hand. Naruto chose to go out as his real self and not the mask he created and worn for so long. Instead of the short blonde wearing a kill me orange jumpsuit, there was now 6'5" blonde wearing a snug black t-shirt and forest green colored pants, a pair of steel toe boots on his feet instead of the typical ninja sandals. To top the look off, Naruto put on a hooded dark red jacket with black flames on the bottom and blue flames on the sides. Naruto remembered when he started wearing a mask to hide his emotions and true face from the village. He knew that if the village found out the demon was too strong, he would be a threat to the village or try to take revenge on them for what they did to him. This started soon after his 6th birthday, which was marked with the villagers attacking and then tying him to a post and burning him alive. He survived the attack, but when he was in the hospital one of the nurses injected him with a large amount of a strange drug to finish him off. The drugs instead unlocked parts of his brain, making him super intelligent. At the same time the drug made his body start producing hormones at a large rate. His body also underwent changes, his healing factor got boosted to super levels. With his enhanced intelligence, he was able to create a special training area those seals to train in. As Naruto advanced further in seals he was able to modify the training ground cube in different ways. The ways being changing the area and the box to different environments and enemies to fight against, and later changing the flow of time inside the cube so it flowed slower inside the cube than in the real world. He was able to set the time in the cube so that a day outside was a year inside. This allowed him to maximize the amount of training he could do without raising suspicions from those watching him. He was forced to hide his true strength, otherwise the villagers would attack him, saying he was too strong and had to be put in line. He also remembered how the old man Hokage had placed a variety of seals to make him loyal to the village and suppression seals on to make it harder for him to think and concentrate. The reason why was he feared that Naruto would become just like Orochimaru and turn against the village. He was able to remove them over time in the cube. Hiruzen never checked them because he made sure to never give him reason to doubt his loyalty. Naruto was walking around the village, no one paying any attention to him because he wasn't wearing his standout clothes. His hood kept his face in shadows with an illusion seal preventing anyone from identifying him. His clothes, however, drew looks from women commenting on how good his clothes looked on him and wondering what was under the hood. As he was walking around, Naruto ended passing by an open restaurant with what sounded like Sakura complaining to anyone in earshot about him and how everything was his fault. As he got closer Naruto also noticed the other genin rookies were also in the restaurant. The others showed little reaction to Sakura's whining, with only Ino and Kiba agreeing with Sakura about how much a failure he is. Shikamaru and Tenten were both in silent contemplation, more than likely worried about their teammates who had been gravely injured in the retrieval mission. Shino was there as well, no doubt acting as a neutral party in the conversation. It's all his fault, he is always causing problems for me and Sasuke. I told him to bring him back, but instead he tries to kill him. He is nothing but a monster that needs to be put down, Sakura said. I agree, all he has ever done is cause problems for everyone else, Ino said. Kiba said nothing but nodded his head in agreement. He was still upset about Naruto's lucky win in the preliminaries. Hinata stayed quietly, unable to defend her crush because of her shyness. Naruto kept his head down, choosing to ignore Sakura's rant about him. To him it's not like he hadn't heard it before. She complains about him being useless, but she is the useless one, not training at all, choosing to believe in some stupid fantasy over real life. Naruto headed to a shinobi bar where the only shinobi are allowed and giving him some peace from the villagers and their stupidity. As Naruto moved towards the bar to get a drink, he noticed all the senseis together at a table. He wouldn't be surprised if they were talking about him and how he injured Sasuke. Naruto ordered chilled sake. The burn of it going down helped ease the pain of everything that he had dealt with today. As he was drinking, he began to overhear the sensei's conversation as he suspected it was complaints about him. No doubt that it was Kakashi was complaining about him and how he was the cause of the current situation. There is no way Naruto could have beaten Sasuke, he is a useless dead weight on my team. Well, Sasuke was the rookie of the year in the academy, Kakashi stated. The other senseis were surprised at how Kakashi was talking about Naruto. He was known for always promoting teamwork and togetherness when teaching. Right now he is doing the exact opposite of everything he preached. Naruto couldn't help but shake his head, thinking just how much of a liar Kakashi was, preaching so much about teamwork but promotes favoritism instead. He gave Sasuke all sorts of special training, while he refused to teach him anything. You're wrong about Naruto, he is the farthest thing from failure. Not only did he defeat last year's Rookie of the Year Neji, but he also defeated Gaara when he released his demon to attack the village during the invasion. I heard how your precious golden boy went up against him and got his butt handed to him, Anko said. Those reports were probably falsified by someone. Naruto is and will always be a useless failure, Kakashi said calmly. Naruto lost his mood to drink and told the bartender to give his bottle to the jonin table. Well, he left the bar, not wanting to deal with the bullshit going on in the bar. Unbeknownst to Naruto, Anko had followed him outside wanting to see who was under the hood. As Naruto moved to the rooftops to get to the Hokage's office quicker, Anko confronted him. Is there reason why you are following me? Naruto asked. I just wanted to thank you for the free booze and wanted to know why you are hiding your face. Anko replied. I have my reasons for hiding, that is all you need to know, Naruto replied. In order to prevent any more questions, Naruto ducked into the shadows and moved quickly to Tsunade's office in order to ask to be transferred off Team 7. The team was a complete and utter failure in his mind. As he got closer to the Hokage's office, Naruto began to argue from inside the office. From the voices he could tell it was the elders arguing with Tsunade about the retrieval mission. He is far too dangerous to leave unchecked, he severely wounded the last Uchiha during the mission, Hamura said. The battle site shows lingering amounts of the fox's chakra in the area, showing the boy used its power during the mission, Kaheru said. He was left little to no choice to use the beast's power to fight against the traitor who was willingly using the curse seal power, Tsunade replied to the elders. The curse seal should have fully sealed away by Jiraiya in order to prevent the Uchiha from using it, Tsunade said. Regardless, the boy is quickly becoming a threat to the village and steps must be taken to protect the village, Danzo said. Especially with the news about the group that is hunting him has been brought to light, Danzo said. What are you getting at? Tsunade asked Danzo, not liking the tone of the elder's voice or the uneasy feeling she was getting. We made the best decision to protect the village, we are banishing Naruto in order to protect the village from future threats, Danzo said. After Danzo finished talking there was an easy silence in the room. Tsunade couldn't believe what she was hearing. They wanted to banish Konoha's most loyal shinobi in order to save their own butts. The silence was quickly broken by Tsunade, slamming her fists on the desk. There is no way I will allow that to happen, you are sending Naruto out to die to the Akatsuki, Tsunade said. Naruto couldn't believe what he was hearing, but soon began to shake with rage because of the elders. Naruto knew he had to calm down, otherwise they would notice him. Well, part of him knew this could happen, it didn't lessen the feeling of betrayal. Naruto hid because the door to the office was opening, letting the elders out with Tsunade following right behind them arguing about his banishment. Naruto could only guess Tsunade would try to bring the matter before the council to overturn it, but Naruto knew that wouldn't work because of a hidden law the elders made that allows them to make one order go through, regardless of the council or the Hokage's interference. With the office empty, Naruto snuck into the office with a banishment order sitting on the desk. Using one of the seals he created, Naruto made an exact copy of the document. He planned on sending this to all the lands that Konoha has treaties with because of his hard work. He won't let the village banish him and them profit off his work. I am sorry, I never expected the village to go this far because of their foolish hatred towards you, Kurama said softly to his friend. It's not your fault, the village has been rotting away since the night I was born, Naruto replied. What will you do now? Kurama couldn't help but feel angry with this ungrateful village. Naruto gave and gave, but the village never gave anything back to him except pain and misery. No matter what the village did, Naruto refused to give in to the hatred that surrounded him. Over time he had come to like and respect him for his iron will and gentle heart. Kurama had lived centuries, seen countless people faced with lesser problems crumble or break under the pressure, but his host refused to be broken by this corrupt village of fools. The village had done everything from beating him bloody, burning him alive, skinning him and raping him, all for their own twisted pleasure, but every time he asked why he didn't want revenge on the village, his reply was a question that he could never answer. Would revenge be worth it if you become just like the villagers? Naruto knew he had to act fast. The elders could have something planned for him as a way of getting one last shot in at him. He created a squad of clones and had them gather everything from his various safe houses in the village while he went to his apartment to collect all his stuff, not wanting to leave any of his hidden projects behind. Before leaving the office, Naruto moved a picture of the Yondaime Hokage, his father, to reveal the safe hidden behind it. Naruto quickly bit his thumb and swiped it across the lock to open it, the contents being his will and the location of his home. Naruto wasted time and headed over there, not wanting to leave his parents' things for villagers to try and take. Once more Naruto created a squad of clones, these to collect all his parents' stuff that was denied to him. As Naruto walked around the house, he stumbled upon a room with his name on it. Feeling curious, he opened the door to reveal a nursery, one that was supposed to be for him. The crib was made from expensive wood and decorated for him. They really did love after all, Naruto said. He couldn't help but wonder for so long if his parents cared for him or did they support the village's actions and the pain he was put through. Jiraiya didn't give a damn about him, and he was supposed to be his godfather, but he only cared about satisfying his own needs. This was all the proof he needed and was glad he came here. The all too familiar sensation of his clones dispelling was a sign it was time to go. With everything gathered and sealed away in traveling scrolls, Naruto headed to one last place before leaving the village for good. That was his parents' graves to pay his respect one last time before leaving. He hoped that they would understand that he could no longer be a part of the village that they gave their lives to protect. In order to prevent the village from realizing that he left, he used a technique that he created to make a substitute of himself to pose as him in the village. As he headed out the gate, a major rainstorm unleashed itself upon the area. This would be a great favor to Naruto, because the rain would hide his tracks and scent from any trackers that would be sent out. His first destination would be Wave Country to talk to Tizana and rent a boat to take him to his mother's homeland of Yuzu. He wanted to collect the treasures his clan kept sealed away in order to prevent them from being stolen. Unbeknownst to Naruto, however, a third party was watching Naruto through a scrying pool. The goal of the group was to capture Naruto and bring him to their leader. The group was cloaked in shadows, so no visible details could be made about the group. Keep an eye on him from the shadows. If the opportunity presents itself, capture him. The voice coming from a cloaked figure. The others nodded their heads in understanding. They knew what fate awaited them if they failed this mission. At the Naruto Uzumaki Bridge, 2 days later. Naruto soon arrived at the bridge leading to Wave Country that he helped create. He was surprised to see that the bridge was named after him. "Huh, I didn't know they named the bridge after me," Naruto said to Kurama. "You gave them hope when they had given up, of course, they would name it after you," Kurama replied. It gave Naruto a great feeling inside knowing he was able to help the people of Wave Country in their darkest hour. As Naruto made his way to Tizana's house, he saw how much Wave had changed since the fall of Geto. Naruto wanted to head to the bridge builder's house to talk to the man about getting a boat ride to Yuzu and to let him know about the banishment order. When Naruto reached the house and knocked, it was Inari who answered the door. "Who are you?" Inari asked, not recognizing Naruto because his face was covered. Naruto took off the hood. "It's Naruto. Is your grandfather home?" Naruto replied. Inari hugged Naruto, happy to see the person who freed them from Geto's control. Naruto went inside and soon found Tizana sitting down and drinking in the living room. "Naruto, not that we're not happy to see you, but what are you doing here?" Tizana asked. Naruto sat down at the table and began explaining everything to the family, from the start with the retrieval mission to him leaving the village due to banishment. By the end, the family was disgusted with the village. They banished a loyal shinobi for a traitor. "That's the story. I came to Wave to hire a boat that would take me to Yuzu," Naruto said. "Getting a boat won't be a problem. The country owes you a debt of gratitude for giving us freedom from the tyrant," Tizana said. "Thank you, the sooner we can leave the better. I rather not draw any attention to myself right now, just in case I'm being tailed," Naruto said. Naruto, well confident he covered his tracks when he left the village, still couldn't shake the feeling he was being watched by someone or something. "I'll take care of the boat. At the same time I will contact the daimyo and inform him that Konoha has banished our hero," Tizana said. "While father is doing that, I will help you gather supplies from in town. The people are more than willing to help you out," Tsunami said. Within a few hours, all the preparations were set and the boat was ready to leave. Naruto said his goodbyes to the family, thanking them for their kindness in his hour of need. The boat would be passing close to Whirlpool on their normal route. This way they could help out Naruto without drawing any unwanted suspicions if anyone came snooping along. The trip to the island would take a few hours, so Naruto decided to meditate and talk to Kurama to kill time. One of the crew would let him know when they were close. Soon enough the island came into view. The crew set up a small sailboat that would get to Yuzu and from there to Sea Country. This way he could be traveling in a separate direction from the ship and further hiding his tracks. As Naruto docked his boat on the island, he felt a warm, calming sensation from the island, almost if the island was welcoming him home. Moving at top speed, it didn't take Naruto long to reach the center of the island and the remnants of the fallen village. The village itself had special seals on the village to protect it from time and would be grave robbers. Naruto created many clones, giving them the task of burying the dead to give them peace, while Naruto headed into the Kage Tower to collect any scrolls that remained. Once that was finished, he headed to the vault where all the treasures and sacred scrolls of the Uzumaki clan were kept hidden away. Naruto cleaned out the vault of everything inside and made his way to the graves of his fallen clansmen to offer a prayer to the dead. But that done, Naruto headed to the boat and away from Whirlpool for the last time. He chose to keep the protection seals on to prevent anyone from disturbing the dead. As Naruto headed towards Sea Country, the feeling of being watched came back stronger than before. One of the most important thing Naruto learned in the village was to trust his instincts. Right now, they were screaming at him about something dangerous was watching him. Soon enough Naruto will find out how right his instincts are, because the unknown group was still hot on his tail and they would stop at nothing to capture him. The group had monitored Naruto since his arrival in Wave Country and followed to the outskirts of Yuzu until the barrier seals prevented them from getting any closer. The group would be making their move as soon as Naruto reached Sea Country because their base was there and they had others on standby in case anything went wrong. Once he reaches landfall, move in to capture, have the others be ready in case he tries to make a break for it, the group leader said. The others nodded their heads in understanding. "Something doesn't feel right, kid. Be on your guard, I think we have trouble incoming," Kurama said to Naruto. Something in the air was making him feel uneasy. "I know, I can feel it too," Naruto replied. It was far too quiet and the air around him was very heavy with tension. Trouble was coming fast and it was coming in hard. As if Kami could hear him, several cloaked figures appeared before our hero. The feeling he got off them was not good in any way. What concerned him the most was the fact he couldn't feel any charka from these people, which was impossible in the elemental nations, as even the civilians had charka. One of the group members stepped forward. He wore the same black robes as the rest of the group, but he had on a strange red cape on top of his robes. Naruto figured this meant he was the leader of the group. "You will be coming with us, boy. Trying to resist us is an unwise move," the leader spoke in a commanding voice. Naruto gave no reply other than to get into a fighting stance to defend himself against the unknown group. His plan was to create a distraction, then put as much distance between the groups as possible. The plan for the group was to distract the target with fighting, while a few others hid in the shadows, waiting to knock him out with tranq bombs. In only a few minutes Naruto had taken several members of the group and was currently fighting the leader. Naruto decided to use a flash technique to blind them while he got away. As Naruto readied a jutsu to temporarily blind them, a cloaked figure hiding him in the shadows threw several tranq bombs at Naruto's feet. The tranq was designed to be fast-acting and to work on Naruto. Naruto only heard the bangs at his feet before he started to smell the chemicals. "Naruto, get out of there, the chemicals are shutting down your body," Kurama yelled through the link, but it was too late. The tranq bomb soon worked its magic and Naruto collapsed on the ground. "Grab the boy and the injured and let's get back to base." With that said, the leader quickly opened a portal to their base, bringing Naruto along as a prisoner. The group arrived at their base and began setting up the main portal for the final transfer to their home base. The energy that powered the portal was made unsteady by the natural charka in the elemental nations, so the group couldn't keep it open for long. While small portals weren't a problem, the main one uses so much spiritual energy that when charka is mixed in, it makes the energy unstable and risks destroying the gate and leaving them trapped in the elemental nations. As the group was making their final preparations, Naruto was in his mindscape talking to Kurama about the current situation they were in. "What do you think will happen now?" Naruto asked. Kurama wasn't sure, but he could feel something bad was going to happen to Naruto, and he would have to make a choice on what to do. The group was ready and already setting up explosives to destroy the base and portal. Once they went through, they had to move quickly because the portal was already experiencing fluxes from the natural energy of the area. Naruto was pulled from his mindscape and found he was bound in cuffs that blocked his ability to use his chakra. As a precaution to prevent any escape attempts, two men on either side took a firm grasp on each of his arms. As the group entered the portal, a massive spike hit the portal, causing it to flux and become unstable. The portal began to fire off bolts of energy that hit the cloaked figures, turning them to ash in an instant. Naruto tried to escape from the portal, but the energy began drawing everything inside and soon sucking Naruto into the unknown. Shortly afterward, the portal collapsed in on itself, ending with a lock. Naruto felt that this was the end for him, but he didn't want to drag his only friend with him, so he went to remove the seal and let Kurama go free. Kurama, however, had a different idea in mind. He already knew what Naruto would do when they were pulled into the portal, but instead of escaping when the seal was realized, Kurama focused all his charkas into Naruto so he could live on instead of him. "What are you doing, Kurama? This is your chance to be free after being sealed away for so long," Naruto asked his longtime friend. "I have lived long enough, Naruto. You deserve to live your life the way you want to, and not under some mask of false happiness," Kurama replied. Enemies that later became the best of friends knew that time was running out and they would have to give their final goodbyes to one another. "Promise me you will live your life to fullest and without regret," Kurama asks his friend. "I promise, I will never forget you, my friend," Naruto replied. Kurama held his fist out for one final fist bump. Naruto met Kurama with his own, and both friends had tears in their eyes as they said their final goodbyes. But that last act, the legendary nine-tailed fox, was no more. Naruto has knocked out afterward. A portal opened shortly afterward, depositing our hero in a hidden cave in unknown lands. The portal immediately shut afterward, leaving Naruto in a new world with new adventures in store. Naruto woke to find himself in his mindscape directly in front of Kurama's old cage. He couldn't stop a feeling of sadness as he remembered the loss of his oldest friend. Naruto was soon pulled out of those thoughts by a blinding flash of light that lit up his mindscape. When the light faded away, there was an unknown woman standing in his mindscape. She was wearing a pure white kimono and white hair and eyes that glowed with power. "Who are you?" Naruto asked, having trouble keeping the fear out of his voice. "I am what mortals refer to as Kami," she replied softly to ease the worries Naruto felt. "Why are you here?" Naruto asked. "I am here to talk to you and explain what happens now, because you are no longer able to return to the elemental nations," Kami replied. "I don't understand why you need to talk to me. How does me not being in the nations cause problems?" Naruto asked, confused by the current situation. "You were chosen to be the child of prophecy in the nations, the one who lead them into an era of peace throughout the land," Kami said. Naruto said nothing in reply at first, his mind overloaded with the bombshell Kami dropped on him out of the blue. "You really know how to lay it on people, don't you?" Naruto replied in a sarcastic tone. Ami gave no reply, but merely giggled at Naruto's response. She knew he would react that way from watching him for so long. At least it was destiny in the elemental nations. That is no longer a possibility because of the group that abducted you and brought you to this new land. However, this world needs your help, Kami said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. The group that abducted you was under orders of a powerful entity that is trying to rule over this world and enslave its populace, Kami said in a serious tone. Two things, one, what am I up against, and two, whose butt do I start kicking first, Naruto replied to Kami, hoping to get any information at all about what he may be up against. The cultists that captured you are merely the foot soldiers who carry out tasks for their master. The group has opened portals to other worlds, bringing monsters and other creatures under their control, Kami said. Naruto said nothing at first, trying to imagine what type of creatures he will be fighting against in the future. Almost as if reading Naruto's thoughts, I will give you a journal that will constantly update itself whenever you encounter a new monster or creature. I will also give you weapon plans that will help you in your hunts against the creatures, Kami said. Thank you very much, I greatly appreciate the help you have given, Naruto said with his usual smile. Before we part ways, I have a few gifts for you. I have collected all of your parents' things you were unable to collect before leaving the village. I also put all the elemental nations' techniques in the same scroll, Kami said. One more thing, there are 3 people want to meet with you before you leave, Kami said. As she finished talking, the area lit up once more, revealing 3 new figures. The people were Minato, Kushina, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Minato and Kushina wasted no time in running over and embracing their child that they were unable to raise themselves. Both parents had tears running down their cheeks as they apologized for the life that he was forced to live and how the people they trusted turned their back on them. I can't apologize enough on how much the village screwed you over. We had so many plans for you and how we wanted to raise you. The village took everything away from you before it could be given, Minato said. I remember the last time I held you could barely fit in my arms, but now you have grown up so much. I am so sorry, we wanted to be in your life more than anything, Kushina said with tears in her eyes. It's okay, what happened wasn't your fault, Kurama told me everything a while ago. You are here now, that's what matters to me, Naruto said. After a few minutes of crying and hugging, the family calmed down and relaxed. Naruto then took notice of the other person who he knew to be Hagoromo Otsutsuki, also known as the Sage of the Six Paths. Hello, Kurama told me all about you, Naruto said, looking at the man who Kurama considered to be his father. I can only imagine what he told you, Hagoromo said. If you don't mind me asking, why are you here? Naruto asked, curious to know why the Sage of Six Paths would want to talk to him. Hagoromo explained the history behind his 2 sons following their birth and how he chose the youngest to succeed him while the oldest became jealous of his choice. He then talked about their rivalry spread to the descendants. Because of what has happened and how corrupted my eldest son's reincarnation is, I have decided to combine both lines into you, making you the next Sage of Six Paths, Hagoromo said. Naruto was speechless. He had heard all about the sage from Kurama, including how strong he was at his prime. Naruto was pulled from his thoughts by a slight burning sensation in his hands. Looking at his palms, he had a sun mark in his left hand, a moon on his right. As a final gift and in order to prevent the elemental nations from abusing them any longer, I will combine the other tailed beasts with you, making you the new 10-tailed dragon. Before you say anything, I left the hosts alive because I knew you wouldn't them killed, Kami said. Naruto and his family were speechless at this development. Naruto was happy to hear that the hosts were still alive, especially Gaara, because he was learning how to connect with his sibling. I am afraid our time is up and we must part ways, Naruto. Once you awaken, the changes to your body will be complete and you will be able to use the energy of the new world and chakra of your old world, Kami said. The family made one last hug together before making their final goodbyes, Minato telling Naruto to stick to his beliefs and how proud of the person he has become. Kushina telling him the same things while telling him to find a nice girl or girls to settle down with and give her plenty of grandbabies. But the final goodbye, said Naruto, faded from his mindscape. Goodbye Naruto, we may meet again if I need your help in the future, Kami said. Konoha 5 days after Naruto left the village. The villagers remained unaware of Naruto's departure from the village due to the substitute that he left in hid place. The substitute was called a Shinigami. The Shikigami he had left as a stand-in for himself to cover his tracks. The Shikigami was following its master's orders by staying out of the public eye as much as possible. This would soon end though, because the council had ordered Naruto to be brought before him to face his punishment for hurting the last Uchiha. The Shikigami already knew what would happen, but had played his part in front of the council. It couldn't help but be amazed at the foolishness of the village and its inability to see the truth. The council was already aware of Naruto's banishment. The civilian side wanted to make a spectacle out of banishing the demon, then celebrating afterwards, while the shinobi side was disgusted at the civilians were acting. Unbeknownst to the council, however, it was Naruto who will have the last laugh. The air in the room was tense due to what was going to happen, but that tension was shattered when a pair of Anbu brought Naruto into the room. "Why am I here, Bachan?" Naruto asked Tsunade. "You are here to receive your punishment for harming the last Uchiha during the retrieval mission," Kaharu said. "I was following the orders that I was given to bring Sasuke back to the village," Naruto replied. "You used excessive force in doing so, calling upon the beast's chakra during the fight," Hamura said. "I had no choice but to do so because Sasuke was using the curse seal to its fullest extent. I had to use the fox's chakra to survive the fight against him," Naruto replied with small amounts of anger creeping into his voice. "Regardless of the circumstance, you have proven to be a danger to the village with how unstable you can be. Along with the information revealed to us by Jiraiya about the group that will be coming after you, we have decided to act in the best interests of the village," Danzo said. "What are you getting at?" Naruto asked, playing his part of the fool. "We have decided to banish you from the village. All information relating to the village will be removed from your mind and your chakra will be sealed away," Danzo said. The council room was quiet for a few moments before the civilian council broke out in loud cheers, happy that the demon will be out of their life for good. The shinobi side could only look on in disgust at the civilians and their reactions to the matter. The civilians' cheering was soon cut short by Tsunade, slamming her fist down, silencing the room. "I will not allow this to happen. I refuse to banish one of our most loyal shinobi, just to save your own skins," Tsunade yelled out. She was not letting the banishment order happen without a fight. She doesn't want to lose what little family she has left. "You do not have a choice, the council already voted on the matter and the end vote was in favor for the banishment," Kaharu said. As the council once again began fighting amongst themselves, the civilians wanting to celebrate the demon's banishment while the shinobi side wanted Naruto to leave in peace. However, before anything could continue further, a stream of chuckles brought them out of their arguments. "What do you find so funny, boy?" Danzo asked Naruto, trying to figure out the reason for him to laugh in his current situation. "I'm laughing at you people, the boss was right when he said that you people choose to see and believe only what you think is the truth," the Shikigami said. The council began to get a bad feeling in their stomachs from what the fake said. Naruto couldn't have made a clone to act as a stand-in, is what most of the people in the room thought. The council, both shinobi and civilian, doubted Naruto's skill at being able to pull one of their eyes. "What are you talking about, brat?" Tsunade asked as she began to get an uneasy feeling. She hoped to have Jiraiya smuggle Naruto out of the village until the heat died down. "You people talk about being master ninja and how easy it is to see through deception, but you couldn't tell the difference between the real Naruto and some else playing his role," the Shikigami said while laughing. The shinobi and civilian sides of the council merely scoffed in disbelief, for the civilians firmly believed that Naruto had no talent whatsoever, while the shinobi side felt that Naruto couldn't fool them with all their experience under their belts. The council was proven wrong in their doubts as the Naruto in the room underwent a transformation before their eyes. When the transformation was done, standing in Naruto's place was a tall figure wearing a yellow military uniform. It was wearing a white mask with 2 black circles for eyes and a large black circle for a mouth. The transformation and character are the same as Pandora's actor from Overlord Anime. "Who or what the devil is you?" Tsunade asked, wanting to know what is going on. "My name is Pandora's actor, I am a Shikigami created by my master Naruto Uzumaki," he said with a bow. "Then where is the real demon then?" Shinzo, a member of the civilian council, asked. "My master is long gone from this corrupted village. He left early because he knew the civilians would want to make a spectacle of his banishment and he didn't trust the villagers to not leak his location to any dangerous threats," Pandora said. "This is a troublesome situation. How did Naruto know about the banishment order when we just learned of it a few hours ago?" Shikaku said in a tired voice. "I would like to know that as well," Tsunade asked, hoping to get a clue on where Naruto may be so Jiraiya can protect him until the banishment can be overturned. "Naruto found out about the banishment when he visited your office. You were meeting with the elders and he heard the entire conversation about how he was being banished to protect their own hides," Pandora said. The council room was quiet as they tried to process this information. The elders were extremely annoyed because they had a plan to get rid of the Akatsuki by using Naruto as bait were ruined. "You expect us to believe that the dead last was able to plan so far ahead and create you? What a load of garbage," Shinzo said, choosing not to believe what was in front of him. "You people were easy to fool because you saw what was on the surface and saw that as the truth. You never believed that Naruto could be stronger," then he led on. "You couldn't even tell that he was wearing a mask for so long because you thought it was the real Naruto," Pandora said. Tsunade had suspected that the face Naruto shown to the public was a lie he created to keep the villagers from attacking him. She had done the same thing until Naruto knocked some sense back into her. As the council processed the information that they were given, Pandora began to fade away, signaling that the chakra that was powering him was running out and he would soon disappear. Tsunade and the others were pulled from their thoughts once again by Pandora's laughter. As they turned towards him they noticed that was fading away. "What is so funny? We can just use you to track down Naruto's location," Danzo said while signaling to his guard to capture Pandora. "You people are what I find funny, you think you're in control of this situation, but that couldn't be further from the truth. My master was several steps ahead of you all, and you all let it happen by choosing to never dig any deeper than what was on the surface. He fooled the entire village into believing a lie without having to lift a finger to do so," Pandora said, amused by how foolish the council was. With his final message said, Pandora disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving behind a paper doll that quickly turned to ash. The council room erupted into a shouting match with the civilians wanting to send out ninja to track Naruto down and take him out, while the shinobi side wanted him caught before he could release any of Konoha's secrets to the other villages. Finally, Tsunade had enough and demanded silence in the room. "Enough, we need to figure out what our next move is going to be. Before you idiot civilians say anything, Naruto can't be in the bingo book because he is no longer a ninja of the village," Tsunade yelled out. The civilians started mumbling to themselves about sending hunters after the brat. Danzo was making his own plans to send his men to capture the boy and bring him back so he could be molded into the perfect weapon for the village. 3 weeks later at the same time Naruto went through the portal. It had been 3 weeks since Naruto was banished from the village, while the villagers celebrated the fact the demon was gone that soon came to an end. Tsunade ended the celebrating by declaring martial law in the village. She was disgusted at the village that Naruto gave so much to protect. Unfortunately for the village, all of the allies that the village had trade agreements and trade routes with were not amused at all. They were incredibly upset at the fact the village banished the one that they considered to be a hero to them. The civilian council was trying to figure out why their allies were breaking off with them. They chose to believe it's the demon brat's fault that they are losing business. The situation will only get worse because the fire daimyo is en route to the village to discuss the banishment orders. Council chambers. The council was once again meeting in order to come up with ways to deal with the fallout of losing so many contracts with their allies. "This is the demon brat's fault. Even after we free the village from his taint, he still finds ways to cause us problems," Yutako said in an angry tone of voice. This caused other civilian members to murmur in agreement with the statement, while the shinobi side rolled their eyes at the stupidity of the civilians. "Naruto is not the cause of this situation. He was the one who originally convinced the lands to form contracts with us in the first place," Shikaku said in a tired voice. He, like many of the shinobi side, was getting fed up with listening to the council's whining. He could be napping or cloud watching right now instead of being stuck here. The council room once again erupted into a massive argument about their current situation, but that was only temporary as the fire daimyo slammed open the door to the room. The fire daimyo was not amused in the slightest. He had come to the village to find out why all their allies were breaking their agreements with his land. When he asked the countries why they were breaking their contracts, the answer was the same from each of them. The village had banished Naruto for doing his duty and to protect themselves from a dangerous threat. Naruto saved their lands from cruel tyrants, mad scientists, and restored hope and faith to their lands. When the village banished him for doing his job, they wanted nothing to do with that village. This also disgraced him and damaged his reputation as a ruler. "Fire Daimyo-sama, why are you here?" Tsunade asked, wondering if he is here because of the fallout from the contracts being broken. "I am here to discover why this village banished the one who got so many villages to trade with us, but is also a national hero in those lands," the daimyo said with an iron tone in his voice. He was banished because he gravely harmed the last Uchiha during the retrieval mission, and the fact he was becoming a dangerous threat to the village, Shinzo said in reply. "So, because he did his job and retrieved a traitor of the village, you foolishly banished him," Ryoku, a member of the fire daimyo's guard, said. "Sasuke was influenced by the cursed seal, he was not in control of his actions," Yutako said. "Why wasn't the mark fully sealed away by Jiraiya? In order to prevent that from happening in the first place," the daimyo said, annoyed that the incident was taken care of from the beginning before it could get out of control. "The Kashi sealed away, and he was confident that the seal would hold as long as Sasuke resisted the seal's influence," Hamura said. "The Kashi is not a seal master, the cursed seal should have been permanently sealed away by Jiraiya as soon as possible, not allowing it to take root in the Uchiha," Ryoku said. Any further discussion was silenced by a blinding light in the room. When the light cleared, there stood 4 figures in the room. The council recognized Minato and Kushina, but the other 2 were unknown to them. Kami is the same description as earlier. The first one was white-haired woman and a skeleton wearing a black robe with a dagger in his mouth and holding a set of prayer beads in his hands. "May I ask who the 2 of you are and why you are here?" Tsunade asked with a light tone of fear in her voice. She could feel the power rolling of these 2 and knew they shouldn't be messed with. "I am Kami and my companion is the Shinigami. "We're here to inform you of the fallout of your actions," Kami said. The council room was completely silent due to the shock of having two gods standing in front of them. The silence was broken when Kami waved her hand and several people were teleported into the room, the people being Jiraiya and the rookie 12, minus Naruto, with their senseis. The group was first woozy from the sudden transport but soon realized where they were. The adults easily recognized the fourth and his wife but didn't know the other two, they only knew that they were incredibly powerful. "How are you and why did you bring me here?" Sasuke asked in an arrogant tone. The other rookies preformed the Fasipum no Jutsu at Sasuke's arrogance, even though he lost to Naruto his ego was becoming bigger and the others refused to work with him because of it. "You're so cool Sasuke-kun," Sakura and Ino said. Kushina felt such disappointment from seeing how her best friend's son turned out, he was a mirror image of his father. Minato was also disgusted with the Uchiha and the torment he put his son through because he needed the ego boost. "How do you think we got here and who are the two people giving of such strong presences?" Choji asked while snacking on a bag of chips. "I don't know, the only thing I do know is this situation is going to be very troublesome to deal with," Shikamaru said to his best friend. The talking was broken as Kakashi and Jiraiya made their way over to Minato to talk. "Sensei, is that you?" Kakashi asked, unable to hold back the surprise and joy at seeing his teacher again. The joy soon left him as Minato planted his fist in Kakashi's gut. "Sensei, why?" Kakashi asked as he held his stomach in pain. "That was for my son and the crap you put in through," Minato said angrily with his failure of his student. Any response Jiraiya had been immediately silenced by a look from Kushina with her hair flaring up like a set of 9 tails, he knew what the look meant, he was in serious trouble. Rather than give him a chance to try and explain his actions, Kushina super kicked in between the legs, she was not happy at all with the man she trusted to look after his son and be his godfather. Kushina grabbed Jiraiya by his ponytail and brought him to face level. "That was for throwing my son off a cliff to teach him summoning rather than teach him the right way, along with the seals you placed on our son to make him into a loyal weapon for your sensei," Kushina said in a tone filled with female fury. "How did you know that I did that?" Jiraiya asked in between gasps of pain. "We also know how you sold out that family who wanted nothing more than for Naruto to become a member of their family," Kushina said. Kushina and Minato had witnessed how a family that came to Konoha had to meet Naruto and taking a liking to him, they were even planning on adopting Naruto into their family. Unfortunately, they sold out by Jiraiya, who told his sensei, Hiruzen had the family taken out due to the fact they were influencing Naruto to take a path he didn't want him taking. Jiraiya had told him of the prophecy and he was doing everything he could to make sure he would be loyal to Konoha above all else. Kushina was one of the strongest kunoichi before leaving active duty because she was pregnant with Naruto, everyone knew to never get on her bad side or you will pay the price. "What son? Did the fourth have a child? We need to bring him to the village right away so he can live up to his father's legacy," Shinzo said. This sparked other members of the civilian side saying similar things and talking about what gifts they should give to the person. Minato and Kushina could barely hold in their anger at the people talking about showering Naruto with gifts when they took such pleasure at making his childhood a living nightmare. "We sacrificed our lives for these hypocrites, what were we thinking at the time? We should have just grabbed Naruto and left the village to its fate," Kushina said to Minato, disgusted at how the villagers were acting. "That can't be true, Naruto can't be the fourth son," Benito said. The council once again erupted into a shouting match, now that the truth was out, the signs was visible to the people. The council wanted the banishment removed and Naruto brought back to the village. They also talked about how they wanted to lavish him with gifts and such to buy his forgiveness. Not only were the gods and Minato and Kushina disgusted by what the council was talking about, but the fire daimyo and his guard were as well. "Enough, all attempts to bring Naruto back to the village are a waste of time. He is no longer is this world," Shinigami said, annoyed with these foolish mortals. "What do you mean?" Jiraiya asked. "Naruto was captured by a group of cultists and dragged to another dimension, it's impossible to bring him back. His loss also affects the elemental nations because he was the child of prophecy and the nations will have to deal with the fallout," Kami said. "What do you mean by the child of prophecy?" the fire daimyo asked. "He was destined from birth to lead the nations into an era of peace, but because of the banishment it broke the chain and changed the future," Shinigami said. "Can't you just choose a new child of prophecy?" Koharu asked. Kami shakes her head. "No, that is not how it works. The next child of prophecy won't be born for 1,000 years from now," Kami said. "There is something else you should be aware of because Naruto never fulfilled his role as the child of prophecy. The elemental nations will go through an age of darkness until the next child of prophecy is born," Shinigami said. The council was in shock. The one they thought was a demon and useless was the most important person in the nations. "One final thing before we leave, tell me Sasuke, have you been having trouble activating your special eyes recently?" Kami asked in an overly innocent tone of voice. Sasuke went stiff when the question was asked, trying to figure out how this woman knew that. He had been unable to activate his eyes since his battle with the dope over 3 weeks ago. "How do you know about that woman? Tell me what you did to me," Sasuke demanded. The Shinobi Council, Fire Daimyo and his guard in the room couldn't believe just how arrogant the brat was. He was demanding things from a being that could destroy him in an instant. Kami chuckled to herself, enjoying what will come next. "After Naruto beat you in the Valley of the End, he put an intricate seal on you to block your eyes from activating. Naruto never took the seal off before he left, and there is no way to remove it now," Kami said. The room was shocked with silence until that was broken by Minato's and Kushina's laughter. Sasuke may have gotten Naruto banished, but in the end, he had the last laugh in the end. "What do you mean only Naruto could remove the seal?" Kakashi asked, wanting to help his student. Minato could only shake his head in disappointment, disgusted with the favoritism that Kakashi was showing. The seal was set up in a way that it needs 3 keys to unlock, or Naruto himself. The keys were destroyed, and Naruto is out of your reach, meaning the seal is permanent, Kami said. The silence that filled the room after Kami had finished speaking was broken by a shout of anger from Sasuke, who activated the curse seal once again and charged up a jutsu to attack Kami with. Faster than anyone could blink, the last Uchiha was slammed face first on the ground by Kami, who was getting fed up with the boy. "Why wasn't the curse seal fully sealed away this time?" the Fire Daimyo asked Tsunade. "The council blocked me from having it sealed. They didn't want the Uchiha to lose any of his strength," Tsunade replied. "The seal won't be a problem anymore," Kami said as she removed the seal from Sasuke's body. "Thank you for that," Tsunade said. "No problem," Kami replied. Kami gathered the group together with the message that it was time to go. She also wanted to get away from the villagers' stupidity. She and the Shinigami had watched Naruto since he was born and knew if any else were faced with the same challenges, they would crumble in an instant. As Kami and her group disappeared, they gave one final look of disappointment and disgust towards the villagers. Naruto began to come around, waking up to find himself in a cave with strange and exotic crystals all around him. The crystals gave off a strange but familiar energy. A closer examination revealed that the energy they gave off was spiritual in nature. "What strange crystals, I think I will take some with me so I can further examine them later on," Naruto thought. Naruto was torn from his thoughts about the crystals and their strange properties when he began to feel odd sensations from his back and his forehead. Kami said my body would undergo changes because of the portal's energy and becoming the 10-tailed dragon, Naruto said aloud to himself. Naruto moved towards the largest crystal in the cave to see what he looked like now. In the reflection, he was still wearing the same clothes he was wearing when he went into the portal. He was no longer a human, but an Anthro pony. His fur was a dark shade of orange. While his mane was the same spiky blonde, while he had 10 bushy and fox-like tails that were the same color. Naruto also noticed a horn he had gained, with the tip being like the point of a lance. He also had a large pair of wings on his back that were the same color of his fur. Naruto wondered if his wings would respond to his mental commands like moving an arm or leg. It took a few tries, but he was eventually able to move and flex his wings. "This is a good start. I will need to practice more before I even think about trying to fly in the air. Okay, now that I got the basics of movement for my new body, let us see if I still have access to my chakra," Naruto thought to himself. He sat down on the ground to focus and find the familiar warmth of his chakra. He soon found it and let the warmth envelop his body. Naruto was engulfed in a golden glow of his chakra. Naruto noticed the change in color and how his chakra seemed stronger than before. Naruto then felt 2 strange sensations coming from the palms of both his hands. When he looked at them, he saw he had a sun mark on his left hand and a moon on his right. "I wonder what these marks mean. Maybe there is something in what Kami gave me that can tell me what they are," Naruto said. It was then Naruto could feel another energy coming from himself, but it felt very faint. Naruto decided to meditate further to discover this energy. As Naruto tried to find the strange energy, he dove into his mindscape. He appeared in a crossroads of his mindscape. As Naruto went down the path the energy was coming from, he soon found himself in front of the source of the energy. The energy was coming from a massive orb sitting on a small platform. The energy inside of the orb was constantly swirling about and changing colors at the same time. The orb also had large chains on the orb itself, acting as binding to keep the energy from escaping. The orb is the cornerstone from Mickey's castle in Kingdom Hearts 2. As soon as Naruto touched the orb, the chains disappeared and the orb lit up the room with a blinding flash. When the light died down, Naruto saw he was out of his mindscape and back in the real world. "That was weird," Naruto said. "I wonder if I can channel the energy now?" Naruto asked himself. Naruto concentrated on the energy trying to bring to the surface. The new energy felt spiritual in nature instead of a combination like chakra was. The energy gathered and appeared at his new horn, the energy was ever-changing colors in his reflection on the crystal. Naruto knew he had to train in this new energy to find out its limits. Naruto headed towards the cavern entrance to see where he was and to see if he can glean any information on the land he found himself in. From what he could see, he was in a forest of sorts. The area gave off a calm and relaxed feeling which felt nice to him. Naruto could also sense that the forest gave off like the one he just unlocked within himself. As much as he wanted to explore this new land, his instincts told him to wait until he trained his new body, and the new energy he had unlocked, going out there without being prepared, could spell disaster for him. Naruto headed back into the cave, but not before placing seals along the entrance to the cave to hide it from any animals and prying eyes. Unbeknownst to Naruto, his arrival in this new world did not go unnoticed. The ruler of the land Naruto had found himself in was aware of his arrival. The figure was seeing Naruto to make sure he was not a threat to his people or his land. The figure would keep a close eye on Naruto, and when he eventually left the cave, sent someone to speak with him. 3 weeks later. Time passed by quickly in the cave. Naruto was glad he had fully stocked up on supplies before he left the village. He would need to restock before he traveled anywhere else first though. Naruto had fully adjusted to his new body. He had found that his tails can act like arms, picking up and throwing items at will. The training in the cave had also caused his mane and tails to grow out. He had started wearing his mane in a braid to keep it out of his face. Naruto had taken time during training to expand his own techniques from the scroll that Kami had given and further developing his own fighting style. Now was the right time to leave the cave and explore. He had sent out Shikigami to gather information on the land. They had discovered a village little way away from the cave he had been living in for the past few weeks. The village should allow me to restock my supplies and pick up some maps of the world and the surrounding lands. Naruto thought to himself. Naruto moved quickly to the village by tree branch, hoping. The forest gave off a calm and relaxed feeling, which was very soothing to Naruto. At the same time, Naruto got an ancient feeling as well. It said that the forest has been around for a long time. As Naruto was traveling, he came across a large clearing, and waiting for him was an old man riding on a mountain goat. The man was immensely powerful. From what Naruto could tell, he could feel the power coming off him, but at the same time he knew the old man meant him no harm. The old man was wearing a black robe that covered his entire body and a large pointed hat to cover his head. Naruto decided to greet the man and find out why he was out here. "Hello, I going to take a guess you're here to meet me, or are you just enjoying the beautiful day outside?" Naruto said to the old man with a chuckle. "Hello to you as well, welcome to Elfen, my young pony," the old man replied. "Our leader sent me out to meet you and escort you to him. He would very much like to meet the pony who suddenly appeared in our land. Sorry, please allow me to introduce myself. Name is Jedfrig. I am the supreme sorcerer of Skellig." This only confirmed what Naruto had thought. He had felt someone's eyes upon him, but could not tell where they were. "Our king saw your arrival in our kingdom from the portal that opened up. He knew that you didn't have any evil intentions towards our land. When you did not come out of the cave, he kept an eye on it until today," Jedfrig said. Jedfrig remembered what his king told him about Naruto. He showed him and the other elders Naruto's arrival and quickly calmed any fears about Naruto being a threat to their land. The king told them Naruto was a hero who had come to help fight against the cultists and the monsters that are plaguing not only their lands, but all the lands. He also described Naruto as having a pure heart despite having a very dark and cruel upbringing. Jedfrig was pulled from his thoughts by Naruto calling him. Jedfrig could easily tell that Naruto was enormously powerful. He had met with Princess Celestia in the past during peace talks between the two lands, and from what he could sense from the stallion in front of him, he rivaled Celestia in power. From what he could sense coming from Naruto, he was close to her level of power. "If you don't mind, we can head out to meet with the king. He has been waiting to meet you," Jedfrig said to Naruto. Naruto nodded his head in agreement and motioned Jedfrig to lead on towards the village. As the two entered the village, Naruto noticed the residents wore cloaks and hats like Jedfrig. The people looked like humans, but Naruto noticed that they had long pointed ears. Naruto could also feel that they had the same energy that he had unlocked in the cave. As the two of them walked through town, he noticed that he was getting strange looks from the villagers. This did not surprise Naruto too much since he was a stranger in their lands. In Konoha he only received looks of hatred and disgust any time he went out, so looks of curiosity were something new to him. Naruto and Jedfrig soon reached a massive cherry blossom tree. The tree's size matched the size of the boss summons in Kurama. Naruto could also see different creatures that are believed to be myths such as centaurs and satyrs. Naruto also noticed small creatures that reminded him of fairies. They each gave of a different elemental feeling. Few felt like the wind, while others felt like water. The fairies from Berserk. "Jedfrig, if you don't mind me asking what those are flying creatures, they look like fairies," Naruto asked. Jedfrig chuckled a little. "They are fairies. They along with other creatures make Elfen their home. Some have tribes outside of this land while others came here to escape from the darkness that plagues them, Jedfrig said. As Jedfrig started telling Naruto about the fairies and the other creatures that make this land their home, Jedfrig stopped the conversation because of the sound of horns playing, signaling the coming of the king. A swarm of swirling cherry blossoms soon appeared, the swarm moved towards the throne and died down, revealing an imposing figure. The king is Flower Storm Monarch from Berserk. Welcome Naruto Uzumaki to Elfhelm, please call me Danan, Danan said. Naruto at once bowed to Danan as a sign of respect, he could already tell that Danan was immensely powerful, and she also had a strong connection with nature. Would say I am surprised you know my name, but Jedfrig told me that you were aware of my presence in your land, Naruto said. Yes, I felt the energy from the dimensional tier and the energy coming from you. Check your mind seeing your memories and check the purity of your soul to make sure you were not a threat, Danan said. Naruto nodded his head in understanding at why Danan did that, he was protecting his people, which to Naruto was the sign of a good leader. Danan explained to Naruto that different classes of ponies from unicorns that have horns that grant them access to magic, Pegasus that have wings to fly in the air, and earth ponies that have neither but have tremendous strength. You are an alicorn which is a combination of all three classes, the class is also a symbol of royalty in the ponies' homeland of Equestria. There are only 3 other alicorns in existence, they are Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, and Princess Candance, Danan said. Danan also told Naruto of Equestria's history from its founding to present day, he also told Naruto about the Nightmare Moon incident which stood out to Naruto due to the fact he walked a thin line and came close to falling into his own inner darkness. Naruto could relate in a way to Celestia when she had to banish her sister, it probably felt like having to tear out your own heart and stomp on it because that's what it felt like to him when Kurama died who was a brother to him. Since you saw my memories, do you have any information on the group that is causing problems in this world? Naruto asked. Yes, I am familiar with the group you speak of, they made up of the cruelest and darkest being, that includes demons and other monsters. They also wield a twisted form of magic called blight, the energy can corrupt and twist everything from people to animals and the land itself, Danan said. Is there anything else you can tell about the group, do you know any of the high-ranking members or the leader of the group? Naruto asked. No, I am afraid I don't have answers to either of your questions, Danan said. Danan informed Naruto of what was known about the group and tells Naruto the monsters they have summoning in through portals. Naruto places his hand underneath his muzzle as he processed the information, his brain was running at top speed to understand everything. At the same time, he was thinking about what his next move was going to be, what he initially planned was to travel the lands and pick up any information on the cultists and the monsters. Danan could easily see the gears turning in Naruto's mind planning out his next move. Naruto, I can see from your expression on your face you are planning what to do next, I would like to extend an offer you, Danan said. What's the offer that you have in mind? Naruto asked. The offer is to stay here and be trained on how to use your magic, since you have no experience in it, Danan said. Thank you for the offer, I will gladly accept your offer. I experimented with my magic in the cave, but having a real teacher would very nice to have. Naruto said. Danan smiled at Naruto, he knew from what he saw in his memories that Naruto lost the ability to trust others in his village when he was 8. He trusted no one to have his back except for Kurama and always had his guard up, never allowing anyone to get close to him as that family did. He is trying to relax himself because he knows he can relax around us, but some habits are hard to break, epically ones you have done for so long, Danan thought to himself. I'm glad that you chose to accept our offer to stay, I will have Jedfrig show you to the home we had set up for the duration of your stay, Danan said. 6 months later. It had been 6 months since Naruto started his training under the elves, he had learned about controlling his own magic to creating his own spells. Naruto enjoyed his time training with the elves and soon made friends with everyone, the kids enjoyed the stories of the pranks he pulled off in the village. The adults had enormous respect for Naruto for going through what he did and not falling into darkness. Naruto soon felt it would be time to head out and start wandering the lands to gain information on the cultists and the monsters creatures that appeared in the land. He also planned on setting up a contact system so that way when he met with any of the land's leaders, he could send them information on the cultists and monsters he learned, and at the same time if they needed help, they could contact him at any time. Once he was done exploring the outer lands, he planned to go to Equestria to meet with Princess Celestia, he planned to make Equestria his home once was done exploring the lands. Danan helped Naruto contact Princess Celestia through letters, Elfhelm and Equestria were on good terms with one another. The letter explained how he came to Elfhelm and information about himself. He left out the fact he was an alicorn and the fact he came from another dimension because he was unsure if Celestia would believe him or not. He did promise himself to tell Celestia the truth when they met though. In the letter he wrote about the cultists and their leader hiding in the shadows, Naruto also wrote about the monsters and their connection to the cultists. He was unsure if Celestia already had this information or not, but decided to send it anyways. One final thing included in the letter was a necklace with a sun-shaped charm. The charm will allow Naruto to send scrolls directly to Celestia at any time. This way anytime gains any latest information on either the cultists or the monsters, he can send Celestia a copy of the information right away, and at the same time he could receive messages from her as well. The necklace works in the same way as dragon messaging. Naruto soon finished saying his goodbyes to the friends he made during his time training in the village. The elves were first wary of him being an outsider, but they quickly warmed up to him. The kids were the first to do that through the stories Naruto would tell about his missions that he did and the pranks he pulled on the villagers. Naruto was standing in Danan's throne room to say goodbye and give thanks to the kind monarch for everything she had done for him. Naruto was wearing the same outfit as when he first landed in Elfhelm. "Have you decided where you are headed to first?" Danan asked. "Yes, I learned from my Shikigami the Zebra Nation is facing a major crisis caused by an unknown monster. The monster emits a poison mist that has spread throughout the land," Naruto said. Naruto had sent his Shinigami out across the world to gather information on the different nations and anything on the cultists and monsters that they could find. After he said all his goodbyes, Naruto headed out with the Zebra Nation as his first stop and his first encounter with the monsters that roam the lands. The edge of the Zebra Nation. It had been few days since he left Elfhelm, but Naruto finally reached the edge of the Zebra Nation. Naruto could already feel the mist already hitting him. The mist did not affect him because of his body's natural healing ability. This is an awfully bad sign. If the mist could be felt from the edge of the land, it must be even worse further inward. Hope the zebras have some way to counteract the mist, Naruto said. From what information he had gathered, the mist did not kill you outright, it slowly weakened you, leaving you vulnerable to attack. The effects only lasted while you were in the mist itself, and the mist could disperse through fire. Using a torch or a bonfire will remove the mist from that area if the fire burns. As Naruto moved across the land, he discovered various footprints from different monsters. These, and along with traces from the monsters, would allow him to find and identify the creatures. The tracks were lighting up in a green color because of the scout files. They are a unique brand of fireflies. They changed color depending on what scent they came across. They swarmed on tracks or any residue of monsters and any plants that may prove useful. Naruto followed the tracks into a wooded area. The tracks showed a large pack of small monsters and one set of large tracks, which must have been the alpha leaders. Naruto stopped in a large clearing because of the reaction from his scout flies. They had swarmed upon a scrap of flesh, but were turning blue. That's not good. For the scout flies to turn blue means that this flesh came from an elder dragon, Naruto thought to himself. Elder dragons were monsters who wielded incredible power. It is believed they had the power to destroy the world. Naruto was pulled from his thoughts by the sound of footsteps approaching his location, thinking it could be a local, but taking no chances, Naruto kept one hand close to the sword resting on his waist. As Naruto suspected, it was a female zebra wearing animal skins for clothing. She also had various gold jewelry from rings on her neck to hoop earrings. She had the Amazon-like body, and her mane was in a mohawk fashion. "Who are you, stranger, and what brings you to this, especially during time of crisis?" the female zebra asked. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I came here to investigate the rumors of the creature plaguing this land and put an end to it," Naruto replied. The female zebra was surprised at Naruto's answer. Her and the other tribes had investigated what was causing the mist. They found the creature, and despite their best efforts they were unable to drive off the creature. "My name is Zalika. I know of the creature you speak of," Zalika said. Before the two of them could continue their conversation, they were suddenly attacked by a large group of reptiles-like creatures moving towards them on all fours. They were Guros. They were coated in the mist to weaken their prey. Guros from MHW. Monsters that are known to attack in packs, using the deadly vapor of the rotten veil to their advantage. They are known for crippling targets with their paralyzing fangs. Naruto quickly grabbed a scroll hanging on his waist and summoned out a pair of twin swords, sword rapiers from MHW, and got into a basic stance to prepare for the monsters. The blades were naturally imbued with a water element, which is what the creatures were weak to. They have a bite that can stun, so be careful. Since they are coated in mist, they can use that to weaken us as well, Naruto said to Zalika. Zalika nodded her head in understanding, having fought these creatures before. Between the two of them they made short work of the creatures. As they started to catch their breath, a loud noise came the woods, signaling the fight was not done yet. From the woods appeared a larger version of the creatures they were just fighting. Great Guros from MHW, a monster that scavenges for meals dropped from the Coral Highlands. It acts as the alpha leader of a Guro's pack and sports giant fangs that paralyze its prey. Naruto and Zalika just prepared themselves for round 2 against the creature. Naruto moved quickly, jumping up and spinning down Great Guro's back in a wheel-like motion, striking the beast with his blades the entire way. Zalika quickly followed up with a set of quick strikes, with her daggers against Great Guro's head doing critical damage. Naruto quickly responded with a combo of his own. Naruto fired of around water bullets at the Great Guros. The bullets knocked the monster on its side, leaving it open to Naruto's and Sasuke's joint attacks. Naruto seized an opportunity and mounted the monster's back. He did not do the traditional mounting attack, but stirred the Great Guros into a wall when it charged forward to shake off Naruto. The impact with wall stunned the monster. Naruto readied a water spell to use on Great Guros. The spell formed spears of water from the air surrounding him and had them pierce through the monster's hide. With one final cry, the Great Guros fell over on its side, dead from the battle with Duo. He smiled at his partner and made sure she was okay. Naruto quickly sheathed his blades on a holster on his lower back and turned to his partner with a smile on his face. The female zebra proved that he was very skilled and handy with her daggers. "Thank you for your help with the monsters," Naruto said to Zalika. "You are most welcome. Your skill with the blade is most great indeed, just what my people could use in our time of need," Zalika said. "Forgive my lack of skill in writing rhymes." Naruto started sealing away the bodies of the monsters so that he can process them later. Certain body parts can be used in the creation of new weapons and armor. The organs can be used to make potions and other medicines when mixed with the right herbs. Zalika was impressed by Naruto's skill with his blades and how he easily dispatched the monsters. She could not help but wonder how he knew so much about the creatures in the first place. "I must ask a favor from you. Can you come with me to meet the leader of my village? She will want to meet the one who can take out the creatures so easily. She would also like any information you have on the monsters that you have," Zalika asked. "That is okay with me. Before I met up with you, I found tracks of an extremely dangerous monster. It is on a completely different level than the one we just fought against," Naruto replied. It did not take them long to reach Zalika's village. It was what you would expect from the tribal zebra nation, with huts making up the village. The zebras themselves looked to be in rough shape from the constant struggle with the monsters. Naruto noticed they were giving strange looks, probably because they are wondering why a pony has come to their village. "The monsters have already done a number on this village. It almost reminds me of Wave Country during Gato's control," Naruto thought to himself. Naruto and Zalika soon reached the hut of the village chief's hut. As they got closer, however, Naruto's tracker flies swarmed on what looked like cloth hanging out to dry outside of the hut. "What are those strange bugs doing and why are they turning blue?" Zalika asked Naruto. "The bugs are scout flies. I use them to track monsters and other creatures. They glow blue in the presence of anything that came from or was made by an elder dragon. They track the monsters sent from tracks and other things until they can lead me to the monster," Naruto said. "What are elder dragons?" Zalika asked. "Elder dragons are the top of the monster chain. They each have unique powers and abilities. They are also believed to have the ability to destroy the world, which makes them an exceptionally large threat," Naruto said. Zalika and the other zebras listening to the conversation were very afraid from hearing Naruto's description. Naruto felt a pulse coming from his monster journal, signaling that a new page was unlocked and quickly opened to the new page. The creature is Val Hazak MHW. The grotesque elder dragon that inhabits the deepest part of the Rotten Vale. It uses the fatal vapor of the Vale in what is a symbiotic relationship. All journal entries will appear the same as in the Monster Hunter game universe. The monster is weak to the fire and dragon element. That's good to know. I don't have weapons with the dragon element, but I do have a fire element great sword, Naruto said. I should thank you for helping us get rid of the creature plaguing our land, but I can't help but wonder why you are doing this in the first place. A voice from the hut spoke to Naruto. My name is Rusum. I am the leader of this village in the Planeswalker tribe, she said with a firm tone of voice. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, wandering pony and monster hunter. I came here because I heard of a strange creature causing problems to your land, Naruto replied. Rusum said nothing at first. She had been listening to the conversation about the creature. The pony was confident he could fight it. She would put her trust in him for her village's sake. Know of its lair. The fight will not be an easy one because of the location. The creature nest is filled with a mist, making the fight even more difficult, Rusum said. I figured it wouldn't be an easy battle, but regardless, the creature's poison will destroy this country and others if it's not stopped. I have some gear that will protect me from the mist's effects, Naruto replied. Rusum nodded her head in understanding. Come into my hut. I will show you the creature's lair. The map I have will show you the fastest route to the cave. I also have a few potions to give you to aid you in your fight, Rusum said. Thank you for the help. Anything will be greatly appreciated, Naruto said. As Rusum got the potions ready for him, Naruto put on his poison-resistant gear. The gear looked like a regular set of clothing, but was heavy modified. The pants had enchantment on them to stop the buildup of the mist, the gloves and chest piece had fire-boosting enchantments to strengthen fire attacks, and finally the helmet had special filters to block out any poison in the air. The weapon he was using was called Red Wing from MHW, he had made it during his time with the elves, his was made using standard metals and ores, while the one in his book was made with Rathalos parts. "What is that weapon you just brought out?" Zalika asked Naruto, curious as to the weapon resting on Naruto's back. "It's a great sword called Red Wing, the blade is imbued with the fire element, which is what Val Hazak is weak to," Naruto replied. Naruto placed his slinger on his left arm, the slinger is a hunter's tool that fires out various pods that range from flash pods that blinds monsters to bomb pods which explode on contact. The sling also has a grappling hook attachment to reach high places or to get out of sticky situations. "Naruto, I have finished making the potions and marking the path to the cave," Rusum said. "Thank you, I will head out immediately. The sooner I take out Val, the sooner things can go back to normal for you and your people," Naruto said. One thing that will always be true about Naruto is his willingness to help others in their time and need. Naruto knows he cannot help everyone by himself, but he can lend a hand to those in need. Naruto exited the hut and moved towards the path that would lead him to the cave. He would move fast and not waste any time. It did not take long to reach the dragon's lair. Before entering the cave, Naruto went through his items to see what he would put on his belt for quick access during the fight. He loaded his slinger with flame pods to disperse the mist during the fight, with flash pods as backup to blind and confuse Val if needed. Naruto also made sure his blade was fully sharpened for the fight. As Naruto entered the cavern, he noticed strange pools of what looked like water and small pools on the ground. Naruto approached one of the pools with a branch he had pulled off a nearby plant. As soon as the plant touched the water, the plant started to sizzle and burn. When he pulled the plant back out the end that was in the water and examined it, Naruto noticed the end was burned, meaning the water was a form of acid. "I will have to avoid the pools during the fight. If I get knocked into the pools, the acid will eat through my armor quickly," Naruto said. The cave where the fight takes place is the same as in the MHW game. Naruto continued down the path until he reached a large cavern. He noticed large stalactites hanging from the ceiling. He could use them by hitting them with pods and dropping on Val Hazak to damage and stun the dragon. Naruto followed the trail to a small cave entrance with abnormally thick vines growing floor to ceiling. Naruto continued onward, making a path through the vines by pushing them to the side. Inside the cavern, Naruto found a massive pile of corpses made from various monsters. He recognizes them as monsters he has seen in different encounters since he started traveling. As he got closer to the pile, a pack of Guros appeared coated in the mist. Naruto readied himself to take out the small fry before dealing with the main threat. When he was about to launch an attack, a large arm appeared from the pile and slammed down on one of the Guros. After that, a powerful suction wave pulled all the mist into the pile, including the mist coating the Guros. Then a large monster appeared from the pile. It was a large dragon-like creature wearing the torn and damaged skin of another monster over its own body. "Hami damn, you're one ugly son of a bitch," Naruto spoke aloud, seeing Val Hazak for the first time. Val Hazak gave off a loud roar, then launched itself at Naruto. Naruto quickly dodged, rolled to the right, and fired a flash pod at the monster's head. The pod blinded the monster, allowing Naruto to run up to its leg and start hacking away. This would bring the monster down and allow him to focus his attacks on Val's head. Naruto ran towards the sides of the cavern to run up the wall and mount Val Hazak. This would allow him to weaken the monster even more. Mounting a monster is a hunter's technique where the hunter jumps and lands on the creature, then moving to one of three critical areas to attack. The spots are the head, the middle of the back, and the tail. After that, a hunter then needs to clear off the scales or hardened flesh with knives to expose the soft flesh underneath, then you can unleash a critical blow against the creature. All the while the monsters will try to buck you off one way or another. As soon as Val was in reach, Naruto made his move and jumped on Val and moved towards its head to do the most damage as possible. At the same time, Val started bucking and slamming into walls to get Naruto off. Despite Val's best efforts, Naruto was able to clear the scales and expose the flesh. Naruto unleashed a powerful combo, knocking the creature to ground. Naruto moved in, focusing on the head for maximum damage, using a mixture of light and heavy attacks on the beast. Val was not down for too long and soon got back up on its feet. Val unleashed a power roar, distorting Naruto. Val followed up with a powerful charge attack. The first one misses, but the second catches Naruto on the dodge. The attack slammed him into the wall. He was lucky he avoided falling into the acid pools that surrounded the cavern. "Nuts, that hurt," Naruto said as the charge slammed him into a wall. Naruto then noticed Val had stood up on his hind legs and was sucking in air. Naruto knew whatever Val was doing, it was not good news, and decided to make some distance between the two by grappling up to the ceiling and channeling chakra into his feet to stick to the ceiling. As soon as he landed on the ceiling, Val unleashed a massive breath attack starting at its feet and spreading out from there. Naruto waited until the attack was done, then threw a kunai with an explosive tag towards a stalactite and dropping down on Val. Val was stunned by the impact, which gave Naruto the chance to unleash a jutsu upon the stunned creature. Fire-style Great Chaos Fireball. Naruto roared as a massive fireball left his mouth and exploded upon hitting Val. Small lava pools also formed at the point of detonation. This caused Val to let loose a horrible scream of pain, as all the fire did massive damage. In vengeance to his attack, Val unleashed a massive breath attack that seemed to reach across the entire room. Naruto could tell Val was on its last legs, it had wounds on its body and was slowing doing more. The attack slammed into Naruto, throwing into one of the acid pools. Naruto at once jumped out of the pool, he could feel the acid eating away at his armor. It's time for the final push, Naruto thought to himself. Val collapsed on the ground if stunned, but Naruto could tell it was pulling in miasma towards itself. Naruto rushed towards the head to get strikes in before it pops back up, but before he could, Val let loose a miasma-filled explosion. Naruto quickly substituted himself with a large boulder and fell back to down a potion and heal from the damage. Naruto began channeling and storing a large amount of energy inside Red Wing. He planned on mounting Val once more and unleashing the stored energy in a massive blast. Naruto prepared to mount Val for the final time and end the creature once and all. With a loud battle cry, Naruto ran towards the best, jumping into the air and using the grappling hook to mount the creature. Naruto jumped on the head and started hacking away the scales to reveal the soft flesh. "Now die, you bastard," Naruto exclaimed, thrusting the blade deep into Val's skull and unleashed all the stored energy inside the blade. With one final roar, Val Hazak collapsed on the ground dead. That was a difficult fight. I am going to have to practice more with combing my hunter and ninja skills, Naruto thought to himself. The miasma in the cave and the pools of acid water did not make the battle any easier. Naruto sealed Val Hazak's body away to be examined for parts for armor and weapons later. Certain parts of the monsters could be used in making new weapons and armor. The journal also had recipes for healing items and other things that could be made from the monster parts. Now that Val is dead, the miasma should start to fade away and the zebras should be able to recover from this terrible event, Naruto said. It did not take Naruto long to reach the cave entrance. The sun was beginning to set, but Naruto could easily see that the miasma was disappearing quickly from the land. The cave entrance also gave Naruto a beautiful view of the savannah land. This is a magnificent view, I will have to sketch it later on, Naruto thought to himself. Naruto had learned how to draw and do other forms of art to help him relax from all the stress the village put him under. He remembered the family that taught about art and music, he remembered all the joy he had with them and the pain that followed later. Naruto made the return trip to the village in record time. The miasma had already faded away from the village, raising the spirits of the inhabitants. As soon as they saw him, they had broken out into cheers for him. Naruto was a bit nervous by all this, being so used to receiving only negative emotions from the villagers. This was completely foreign to him. Everyone in the village was outside clapping and cheering for him. Naruto could only smile awkwardly and wave back to them, unsure what to do. Rasam quickly appeared, silencing the cheers till she could talk to their hero. "We can't thank you enough for helping us rid the monster that has plagued our people," Rasam said. Naruto said nothing at first, he just rubbed his hand behind his head in embarrassment from all the praise he was receiving. "I am glad I could help. I came here to investigate the rumors of the strange creature appearing in your lands and gain information on it," Naruto replied. "Before you leave, please join us tonight in celebration tonight for your victory against the creature," Rasam said. Later that night, there was a massive bonfire going in the middle of the village with everyone dancing around it or just drinking and being merry. This was an enormous difference from the haggard-looking zebras that he first saw. Naruto could not keep a smile from his face from the scene before him, it reminded him of Wave Country after Gato's death. He was glad he was able to help the zebras, but at the same time he knows this is just the beginning of his journey. "I hope you and my parents are watching this, my friend, I haven't forgotten my promise to you," Naruto said as he looked up to the stars thinking of his brother figure. Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, peace out.